you, Alison. Okay, so we have some wording for this motion. Who's got the wording?
Yes, certainly. The comments.
Sorry, I didn't know I was looking at you.
The comments that we took from members' discussion, it appeared to be specifically that roof form, the fact that it's a flat roof with parapet, because obviously other flat roofs are available on the design. So it's really that the relevant by virtue of its design, in particular the roof form, is considered to lack the excellent architectural quality and appropriate appearance in relation to its context to aspirations of policy PCS 23 that is required by policy PCS 23 of the local plan and guidance of the NPPF. So I've kept it quite straightforward. It is that roof form rather than the three-storey element to it or that mass and footprint or layout. It's really just that roof form that appears to be the concern of committee.
Councillors Smythe and Smith, you happy?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And you know, and you said it before. This committee takes matters of quality and design seriously. Always. Okay. So we have the wording. It's the only motion in front of us. Those in favour, please indicate.
That's 6 votes in favour. That's a unanimous refusal for the reason read out by the officer.
Thank you, Kieran. Okay, we move on. Summers Road.
Chair, could I just ask whether we'll be in quorate if I leave the meeting before 2? Just
no,
before 2?
I think no, we'll be fine.
Quorum's
Okay.
4, so we'll be fine, yeah.
I have another meeting, but I'll play it a little bit by ear. I don't want to disrupt proceedings.
Well, we have half an hour. Okay.
Thank you. So this is application 58 Summers Road. This is the only application on today's agenda which officers are recommending requires no planning permission, and consequently, if members wish to disagree with that, and it's resulted in an unconditional recommendation, wish to disagree with that point, the standard MO of this committee has been to take a vote on that question with specific reasons, and then obviously, if that is the case, the planning permission is required, go on to discuss the merits. But without wishing to prejudge that position, this is 58 Summers Road, I would say, as you can see in the middle there. We do have in this area a number of HMOs already. In fact, it's about a quarter, 26% or so of properties in the area, especially huddled around this corner. Are HMOs already, so we're already above that, but this, as I say, is already a 6-bedroom HMO. That is the existing layout with the 6-bed HMO, and tiny squished into a corner, that is the proposed layout of the 7-bed HMO, and that is obviously just one room altered from a communal space to a bedroom. You can see that the spaces at well over 10 metres for many of them, 10.3 the smallest ground floor bedroom 7, allows for the smaller 22.5 square metre communal space, which is greatly exceeded by the 32.4 square metres that are provided. As the report lays out, and I've said many times, this increase is not considered to be a material change of use by officers, and plan permission is not required, hence the unconditional recommendation, but should members come to a different conclusion, reasons for that judgment must be provided so that can be dealt with, and then obviously if they do wish to assess the application, say it is compliant with policy, notwithstanding the abundance of HMOs in the area already, as one additional occupier is not considered to have any impact or material adverse impact on amenity, and if in that scenario permission was granted as a development that required plan permission, obviously appropriate conditions would need to be applied as detailed in paragraph 6.2, potentially including a cycle store condition as well, I would anticipate.
Thank you. Okay, carry on.
Thank you. So this particular property, all the bedrooms meet or exceed 10 square metres. As Ian stated, the bedrooms are quite large on this property, so range from 18.89 square metres down to the 10.3 square metres. The required communal area for 7 persons when all bedrooms meet this 10 square metres is 22.5, and this property provides 32.36, which is far in excess of requirement. This is a great example of a property that is large enough to have squeezed in 8 bedrooms. However, our client, Dr. Taylor, shares our passion for providing spacious, well-designed spaces and opted for less occupancy and larger accommodation. I also wanted to point out that in paragraph 5.7, the officer incorrectly states that the communal area falls short of requirement. This is incorrect, as members will know the requirement for communal area is reduced when the bedrooms are larger, though as previously stated, the communal area is larger than required by almost 10 square metres. The application is fully compliant with policy PCS 17, PCS 20 and PCS 23 of the local plan and complies with your houses and multiple occupation, a supplementary planning document. The planning officer has recommended this fully compliant application for approval today, and I ask that you all support this recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for pointing out the error. There have been quite a few today.
So that arguably not an error. It's our standardised wording, which we are reviewing. Your policy says 34, so it falls short of that. We then have the exception to the policy that allows 22.5. It could be better articulated, I will happily agree. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Members, questions, comments? I think we know what we're going to do here. I'm going to move the officer's recommendation. That has been seconded by Councillor Smith. Oh, where do you request plan? Sorry, yes. Members, do we believe this application requires planning permission? Please indicate if you think yes.
Why? Sorry, Chair, I didn't mean to quite bellow in like that, but you do need to give reasons as to what your motion is based upon.
We haven't taken the vote to see if people believe that we require.
But they need to have reasons to believe, Chair.
Well,
They
all right,
need to articulate.
do you believe?
You need to have reasons to articulate your
believe-
position. Yeah.
Go on.
The wording with me, but I'll have a go. We believe this requires a planning permission by reason of the effect on the neighbourhood and the future residents of the property. I think we used to use a slightly fuller reason, but if that's sufficient, Kieran, that's what we'll do.
Members may wish to read paragraph 5.11.
Proposal then, we consider that it requires planning permission and that the change in occupation amounts to a material change in use, primarily due to the intensity of the use of the accommodation, the impact on parking, waste, amenity, impact upon neighbouring residents, and the impact on the Solent Special Protection Area.
Thank you, Judith, and thank you, Kieran. Okay, members, we now have some reasons for believing this requires planning permission. Those in favour, please indicate. Okay.
It's unanimous.
I think the words are considering rather than believing. I mean, considering.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, right. Okay, members. Comments. Okay, I shall move the officer's recommendation, seconded by Councillor Smith. Any other views, opinions, thoughts? Okay, those in Councillor Smythe.
Just wanted to check, I have read this, but there are quite a lot of these to read today. Do we need a condition about parking? And we need the condition about the mitigation as well. We need to make this a conditional approval, I think. Do we have those in the report? I'm sorry.
So to assist, Chairman, paragraph 6.2 talks about conditions that you may wish to impose.
That's the one.
In similar circumstances, members have imposed, of course, the time limit condition, the approved plans condition, a cycle store condition. I don't know the status of the cycle storage at the moment, so make sure that, and the appropriate conditions and obligations to deal with impacts on the SPA.
That's the one. Thank you very much for your advice. It's largely in
thank you,
paragraph 6.2,
Yeah.
but I would like to add the condition about cycle storage as well.
So cycle, SPA, and approved plans. Is that, everybody agree? Yeah. So move the officer's recommendations with the conditions we've just spoken about.
It actually isn't the officer recommendation. The
Well, it's,
officer
no, so
recommend-
we're review. Yes, okay. So, we're getting to that point of the day where energy levels are slightly
No, but it
different.
isn't. Technically,
So we
we're
are
not.
moving recommendation as set out in our motion with these conditions. Those in favour, please indicate.
That is unanimous approval in accordance with the discussed conditions.
Thank you, Kieran. Okay, Wadham Road.
Thank you, Chairman. 75 Wadham Road. This is the change of use of a 5-bed HMO to an 8-bed HMO, which therefore does require planning permission for reasons laid out at length in section 11. The application does meet all of your room size requirements. I would draw attention to the SMAT where it says bathroom 1 is 1.4 against the 3.7. So that's actually the ground floor WC rather than a bathroom at 1.4, which therefore does exceed the 1.17. So corrected that in the SMATs to be clear, so that all of the room sizes are met, some quite comfortably when you look at the size of bedroom 4, for example. The only other point to raise, we got a further representation from Councillor Madden on behalf of the local resident querying the mix and balance in this area. As I say, this is an application to change of use of an existing HMO, so obviously the overall percentage doesn't change one way or the other under the application, but if the site, the area is already over 10%, then a slightly different assessment process does kick in. So there is the property. As you can see, there are a number of HMOs in the area. One of them, 60 Gladys Avenue, is a licensed HMO, but the planning history is opaque, to say the least. I would say that that should therefore be considered to be an HMO until we have information to the contrary, and that does change the mix from 9.52% if it's not an HMO to 11.1% if it is an HMO. So that's not this application. So this application is doing nothing to the percentage. But as members know, in accordance with paragraph 2.3 of your HMO SPD, in an area which is already imbalanced, you need to consider whether adding additional occupiers, 3 additional occupiers in this case, would result in demonstrable harm to amenity. Officers are satisfied if one was to take the precautionary route, which I would certainly be comfortable to encourage you to do so, and say this is an 11.11% mix at the moment, and thus we will look at the amenity adding 3 more HMO residents to an area such as this is not going to have a demonstrable impact on amenity, and we are happy to continue to recommend approval. We will, of course, as I say, investigate 60 Gladys Avenue in more detail with our private sector housing colleagues. But just to be absolutely clear on those numbers so you've got the correct information, doesn't change the recommendation overall, but the correct information, I've laid all of that out in the SMAT for you. With that clarity, say the site is otherwise a fairly straightforward one. There are the rooms, so if your traditional layout, as we've seen it for a lot of HMOs, with additional rooms in that roof space to get the occupancy for the 8-bed as proposed, with a recommendation to grant subject to the normal conditions. Happy to take any questions, and we do have the agents giving a deputation.
This is a change of use from a C4 HMO to an 8-person HMO. The description states a change from 5 persons, however the applicant can lawfully use the property under the current C4 planning permission for 6 persons. Although the property was previously a 5-bed HMO, 6 persons could have lived in the property under the C4 use lawfully. All bedrooms meet or exceed 10 square metres, and the required communal area for 8 persons when all bedrooms meet the 10 square metres is 22.5. The bedrooms in this property all exceed the 10 square metres, and the communal area is provided at 25.69 square metres. There is also an additional WC at the ground floor for the comfort of the residents. I note the officer has uncovered an additional HMO confirmed. This is not relevant to this application as this property is already a HMO and therefore there is no increase of density with this proposal. This reason for refusal has been used historically by members of the committee and are never upheld at appeal, and this has been in areas of over 40% of HMO density, so very unlikely to be upheld if this was to be used as a reason for refusal. This application is fully compliant with policy PCS 17, PCS 20 and PCS 23 of the local plan and also complies with the housing multiple occupational supplementary planning document. The planning officer has recommended this fully compliant application for approval today and I ask you all to fully support this recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, questions? Comments? Okay, I shall move the officer's recommendation with conditions. It's been seconded by Councillor Smith. Is there anything else from anybody else? Okay. Those in favour of the motion in front of us? Okay, thank you.
That was 5 votes in favour. Oh, Smith's put a hand up. Smythe's put hands up, sorry, so that's 6 votes in favour. So that would be unanimous grant of planning permission.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Chichester Road.
Thank you. I believe this is the last application on today's agenda, 80 Chichester Road. This is an application for the change of use of a C3 dwelling house to a dual use of either C3 or C4. This is an area of very few HMOs. So there is the application site you can see on Chichester Road. There is the property. As you can see, very few HMOs in the area, in the immediate area. Of course, we're well within the 10% boundary. The only other one is one which is marked on here as pending. Actually, that has been granted permission already. So that is the other one. That's the small star on the top right of the circle you can see there. So, but still well within 10%, 3.57% mix in the area. The floor sizes are laid out in paragraph 8.10. Just to be absolutely clear, of course, as they are all over 10 square metres, it's the 22.5 metre requirement that is required, not the 34, albeit it meets the 34 anyway, 36.2 square metres communal floor space. Consequently, fully compliant with policy and recommended for permission on that basis. I've lost all track on what public speaking we have left. We have kept Mr. Hill for this one as the final public speaking, and obviously happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much for letting me speak about this one. Having a few technical issues. I can't actually access my notes because the internet's dropped out, but ultimately, as you've heard from the planning officer, the recommendation is for approval. The property is fully compliant with all of the relevant policies. All of the bedrooms are a good size. The works initially were carried out under permitted development. The works of this property are actually complete. It's taken a little while to go through the application process, and therefore the property is ready to be occupied. So ultimately, if you grant planning permission today, then 6 people can have somewhere additional to live moving forward. So that's the situation with this one in terms of where the works are up to. It's fully compliant with building control regulations, and I believe we've actually got a completion certificate now for this property because the works are completed. Obviously, we would expect to get a licence in place for this as well. We've never had a licence refused for any of the properties. We have upgraded all of the drainage and wastewater facilities within this property. This one actually has a dab tank for cold water storage, which has been flushed through and chemically charged, etc. So no concerns in terms of being able to either supply or get rid of any of the water or waste from the property. With regards to the rest of the application is pretty much the same as every single other one that I've deputised on today, which is it's well below the 10% threshold. Granting planning for this property wouldn't take it over the 10% maximum. It therefore doesn't lead to an imbalance in any community or anything like that. There's bike storage, and we've got hardware and flooring throughout the property to enable us to bring bikes through the house. Like I said, all of the bedrooms are over the 10 metre squared, all of the en-suites are over 2.74, and as you've heard, the communal area is absolutely huge in this property, above 34 square metres, so that hopefully shouldn't be a problem. Thank you very much for letting me deputise, and I hope you look favourably on this application.
Thank you. And, you know, every single member of this committee understands our role to represent the people who elect us. However, I mean, this application, in respect of mixed and balanced communities, space standards and the rest of it, you know, there's nothing here for us to consider as a committee. You know, I do wish members would think about the applications they call in. Members, questions, comments? I shall move the officer's recommendation. Have I got a seconder? John? Thank you very much. Anything else? No. Those in favour, please indicate.
That's the unanimous approval. In accordance with the officer's recommendation, plan permission is granted.
Thank you, Kieran. Thank you, members. I'm closing the meeting at 13:52. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you, Chair. And officers, everybody else.